One thing we've talked about is allow employers to mandate English only be used in the workplace. Would you
Yes.
support that? Okay. Driver's license tests in English only.
Yes.
Okay. Mandating that a business match a name and a social security number previous to employment. Some people say that's a burden on the employers. Some people say we need to do it to check to make sure we're getting legal
Yes,
citizens.
we won't have a sanctuary state, community, pocket exception in our state if I'm governor. We got to draw the line. We want to be a state that says we are for immigrants, we are for legal immigration, we want you to come here, but we don't want to tolerate illegal immigration in our state. And it's not because we're mean, it's because we respect the rule of law. And I would actually support those provisions to require in the workplace that people are documented.
Okay. Photo IDs for voting. Would you allow state to mandate that they have to provide photo identification previous to voting?
If the legislature passes that bill, I'll sign it.
Okay. Life issues, very important to a lot of people, especially Republican primary voters. When do you believe life begins?
At conception, immediately.
Okay. Big problem we've had in the legislature is activist judges, and we're going through SJR 127 trying to, because they read something into the Constitution most people did not believe was there, that the state law is more wide open than the federal law, even regarding abortion, and there are more protections. The activist judges, a lot of people say that was the problem in the first place. Do you believe we should allow popularly elected judges with contested elections?
I think we should definitely reform the entire process of how we allow people to stay on as judges through a ballot test. I don't think you have to throw everything to a popular election, whether it is the school superintendent, as long as the school board is elected and they choose the school superintendent through a process where they try to find the very best person, as long as there's accountability directly to the voter through elections. And so that's why this whole voting on judges at every level all the time needs to be dramatically reformed so that we have the accountability. But I don't think you have to throw every single judge to the ballot every single election.
Okay. Defunding Planned Parenthood. We currently fund them for about $1 million a year. Would you defund Planned Parenthood?
Yes.
Okay. The environment. A couple of little odds and ends here right at the very end. The environment. Would you support a bottle bill, which is requiring a fee of, say, 5 cents for every can and bottle that's bought?
No.
Okay. Mountaintop mining. Would you support mountaintop mining, or are you against mountaintop mining? Some people say we need the jobs that mountaintop mining produces. Other people say you're destroying our environment if you do that, and our things that people come to visit for.
Well, I have a great conservation record for a long period of time, but I got to tell you, there's got to be a balance. There's environmental extremism with this cap and trade legislation that is so anti-coal and anti-fossil. We have to be able to go and mine coal. It is a natural resource that is very important for our country to stay competitive, and there are going to be places where it's acceptable, and there are going to be places where it's not acceptable. So it's not a yes or a no. It's, of course, we need some of it, but the question is how much of it. And, you know, so I would be pro-coal mining, but let's make sure that we are careful as to how we permit it and approve it, and we work within the constraints. But our country can't afford on an environmental agenda to limit our access to our own resources to be competitive as a nation, or we'll end up a third world country. There is a move right now where they say Obama has believes the government is the great equalizer. The top can come down and the bottom comes up. But that makes us more like a third world country. And as opposed to merit and hard work and initiative and capitalism and free enterprise and risk taking. And in this case, though, our natural resources are necessary. So I would be for limited but effective mining of coal in our state in some places. It's not a yes or a no. It's, of course, do it in a very responsible way, but we need it.
Okay, final question. The living wage. A lot of local communities like to, I believe Memphis has tried to implement or has implemented, mandating what they call a living wage. It's a higher than minimum wage rate for all the businesses within their city municipality. Some people have tried to put in bans saying that they should not have that ability to do that. Would you support banning the living wage?
Well, I don't even know the details of a living wage. You saying with if the legislature voted a bill that says you can't have a living wage
higher than the minimum wage, yes,
higher than the minimum wage. Well, yes, I would support the legislature's ban of that if they sent me that bill. The point is the market sets wages. The market will actually dictate what costs are in a free marketplace. We're running in this country all over the free markets, and it's actually the free markets around the world that people look to our country and try to emulate, because that gives people economic opportunity around the world that they need. Yet here, we're running all over it. Again, like you're saying, or like I said, Peggy Noonan wrote that Obama's got this plan to equalize everything. The government is the great equalizer. That living wage idea is the government intervention to somehow make everything equal. That flies in the face of American innovation and American entrepreneurship and American responsibility and all those things that our system should be about. So we need less government at the state level, at the federal level, especially at the federal level. But here at the state level, we do operate within a balanced budget. That's important. Step one. We don't need new taxes. There's all this talk about revenue, but frankly, we don't need new taxes. We need to live within the means we have, start from the most limited government perspective we can when the new governor takes office with the new legislature. I think the Republicans in this state are going to have an opportunity to govern for a period of time. It's not just an opportunity, though, it's a responsibility. And the burden's going to be on us to get it right. And if we get it right in a consistent way with a limited government start to say we're going to work together to kind of streamline as much as we possibly can. I've had commissioners, I got 5 former commissioners that are serving on my statewide team. They've said the government is duplicative now, and administrations come and they go and they leave more government kind of piled on top of it. Let's try to cut through, get to the bare bones minimum, work with the legislature on good, solid policy that says no new taxes, live within our revenues, try to grow our economy. I think we can recruit good industry into the state, having a production agenda. Our agriculture moving more over into energy production and food production can be a new source of revenue by growing the agriculture base in our state again. I think we've got 3 grand divisions that are very different economically. I know I'm going into the end of my speech here.
I was going to say, just tell people why you wanted to vote for you and your vision for Tennessee.
Three quick things. I've got a good solid 15-year record in Congress and a 100% record on life, marriage, guns, taxes, and immigration. So now I want to be governor because I've lived here all my life, but I know we can do better. And one thing on health, we'll lower our health care costs, the TennCare expenses, if we will say to young people, you have got to be more and more active. And I don't mean government mandates. I mean a top to bottom grassroots effort. We're going to be healthier. We're going to prevent things. We're going to reward good behavior and frankly not let people that live irresponsibly take all the health care dollars away. And education, we're going to start with reading. It's that fundamental, basic reading. If kids are reading, they're going to perform better at adolescence. Economic development, just like this regional technology corridor that I created, we are targeting manufacturing and production. And that's agriculture, manufacturing, have a bold, dynamic economy. And when people from North Dakota talk about Tennessee in 3 years, I want them to say, wow, did you hear about that agenda they have in Tennessee, which is pro-growth, standing on limited government, with a real good constitutional approach to the role of the government, but they're really reaching out to the world for come to Tennessee and come invest in Tennessee. We did that in East Tennessee. Frankly, I just saw a poll, the highest approval rating, so to speak, on right direction, wrong track in the state is in my congressional district where we've had $2 billion investments come in targeting manufacturing, transportation, and energy. We got growth there. That'll bring new revenues in so that we don't need new taxes. We have new revenues from a robust, dynamic economy. It does boil down to leadership. Somebody needs to be tough, principled, work with this new legislature because we're going to be able to set an agenda for a generation. And that's a privilege. It's an honor, but it's a responsibility, Stacey. We got to get it right. I saw what happened with Republicans in Washington, 94 to 2000. We were on a march. Some good things were done. We reformed the welfare system. The budget did get balanced, not by cutting spending, but by slowing the growth of spending. Revenue soared, though, with a good pro-growth agenda. And then during the Bush years, it all got muddled. They couldn't tell the difference between two parties. Democrats are going to win. They didn't really win. We lost. We blew it. And then this change that they voted for is not what they wanted. We got to make sure in Tennessee, when we have the opportunity to govern, that we're consistent, that we stand on this conservative constitutional platform. We know the role of state government based on our Constitution. What is our responsibility? We'll meet those responsibilities without new taxes. We're in a recession. We got to fight and bury our way through it. But we can leave a generational legacy so that Tennessee's an even better place in the year 2020. That is my goal. I believe we can do it. I'm going to have the legislature's support, and so I'm running for governor.
Congressman, I do appreciate you coming in, taking your time and sharing your views.
Thank you, Stacey.
Thank you, everybody. Tune us in again next week.